The weight of the world can press in, can't it? That familiar tightening in the chest, the racing thoughts that refuse to quiet, the persistent hum of worry that can overshadow even the brightest of days. Many of us, in our deepest moments of vulnerability, have wrestled with a subtle, yet insidious, spiritual judgment, that this anxiety, this inner turmoil, is a sign of failing faith. It's as if the very presence of fear somehow disqualifies us from divine favor, a silent accusation whispered in the ear of our soul. We might look at those who seem outwardly serene, those whose prayers appear effortlessly strong, and feel a profound sense of inadequacy, believing our own struggles with anxious thoughts are a testament to a lack of genuine trust in the Almighty. This narrative, however, is a distortion, a misinterpretation of the human experience and the nature of divine connection. It's a subtle trap that can lead us further into isolation and self-doubt, convincing us that our inner landscape of worry is a barrier between us and the very source of comfort and strength we so desperately need. But what if this internal struggle, this very anxiety that we fear marks us as spiritually deficient, is actually an invitation? What if it's not a condemnation, but a summons, a gentle yet insistent call to draw closer to the divine presence that sustains us? This is not to diminish the very real discomfort and pain that anxiety can bring. It is, however, to reframe our understanding of it, to peel back the layers of shame and judgment that often accompany these experiences. Imagine, for a moment, that the moments when we feel most overwhelmed are not signals of abandonment, but rather profound opportunities for deeper reliance, for a more intimate communion with the divine. It's in these very moments of trembling that we might discover the unwavering strength of a love that holds us, a presence that is not diminished by our fear, but rather intensified by our need. This perspective shifts the focus from a perceived failing of faith to a powerful testament to our inherent humanity and our deep-seated yearning for connection with something greater than ourselves. The spiritual journey is rarely a smooth, untroubled passage. It is often characterized by seasons of light and seasons of shadow, by moments of profound peace and moments of unsettling doubt. To expect otherwise is to misunderstand the very essence of growth and transformation. Our inner lives are complex tapestries, woven with threads of joy and sorrow, confidence and apprehension. The presence of anxiety within this tapestry does not negate the presence of faith, rather, it often highlights the profound human need for a divine anchor in the midst of life's inevitable storms. It's in acknowledging these internal tempests, rather than denying or suppressing them, that we can begin to understand their true purpose and their potential for spiritual deepening. This is not about achieving a state of perpetual, unshakable calm, but about cultivating a resilient trust that can hold us, even when the winds of worry blow fiercely. It's about recognizing that our capacity for faith is not measured by the absence of struggle, but by our willingness to turn towards the divine, even when our hearts are heavy with apprehension. This exploration invites us to consider the possibility that our anxious moments are not evidence of God's absence, but rather poignant indicators of our profound need for Him. It's a subtle yet crucial distinction, one that can radically alter our relationship with both ourselves and the divine. When we view anxiety through this lens, it ceases to be a personal failing and transforms into a powerful signal, a beacon calling us towards the very source of peace and solace we seek. This perspective encourages a posture of humble reliance, a recognition that our strength is not derived from our own fortitude alone, but from our willingness to lean into the unwavering support of a loving presence. It's an invitation to embrace our vulnerability not as a weakness, but as a gateway to a more profound and authentic connection, a testament to the deep, abiding truth that in our moments of greatest need, we are precisely where divine love intends for us to be, drawing us closer into its embrace. The spiritual journey is often misinterpreted as a path devoid of internal turbulence, a seamless ascent toward serenity. However, the wisdom traditions consistently reveal that true spiritual fortitude is not characterized by the absence of struggle, but by the capacity to engage with life's challenges, including the pervasive presence of anxiety, from a place of deeper trust. This perspective invites us to re-examine the very nature of our inner experience. Instead of viewing anxiety as an indictment of our spiritual standing, we can perceive it as a profound, albeit uncomfortable, messenger. It signals an unmet need, a call for a more conscious reliance on divine support. Consider the analogy of a seedling pushing through dense soil, the resistance it encounters is not a sign of weakness, but the very force that strengthens its roots and prepares it for growth. Similarly, our moments of anxiety, when met with mindful awareness and a turning towards the divine, can become catalysts for cultivating a more resilient and integrated spiritual life. Furthermore, this internal unrest can serve as a potent catalyst for deeper spiritual intimacy. When we feel the stirrings of worry, it often highlights areas where our sense of control is waning, where our usual coping mechanisms are proving insufficient. It is precisely in these moments of perceived helplessness that we are most open to the transformative power of surrender. This surrender is not a passive resignation, but an active, conscious release of our grip on circumstances we cannot fully command. It is an offering of our burdens, our fears, and our uncertainties to a higher power, trusting that this power possesses a wisdom and capacity far beyond our own. Think of the ancient practice of offering sacrifices. These were not merely acts of appeasing a distant deity, but symbolic gestures of dedicating one's most precious possessions, their very sustenance, to a sacred purpose, signifying a complete trust in divine provision. In a similar vein, offering our anxious thoughts and feelings to the divine is an act of profound faith, acknowledging that we do not have to navigate these internal storms alone. Another crucial layer to consider is how anxiety can illuminate the very places within us that yearn for healing and wholeness. Often, our anxious responses are rooted in past experiences, unresolved hurts, or deeply ingrained patterns of thought that no longer serve us. When these patterns surface, manifesting as worry or apprehension, they present an opportunity for mindful exploration and gentle healing. This is not about dwelling on the past, but about recognizing how old wounds can influence our present perceptions and trigger our anxieties. By bringing these patterns into the light of conscious awareness, and by offering them to the divine for transformation, we create space for profound inner restoration. Imagine a gardener carefully tending to a wilting plant, providing it with the right nutrients and sunlight. In much the same way, we can offer our anxious selves to the divine, seeking the spiritual nourishment and light that fosters inner growth and resilience, allowing us to move beyond the limitations of past hurts and embrace a more liberated present. Consequently, understanding anxiety as a call for greater dependence on the divine shifts our focus from self-criticism to self-compassion and spiritual engagement. It reframes our internal experience from one of spiritual deficit to one of profound opportunity for divine encounter. When we feel the tremors of anxiety, rather than berating ourselves for a perceived lack of faith, we can consciously choose to turn towards the divine presence that is ever near, ever ready to offer solace and strength. This active turning, this conscious choice to seek divine support, is itself a powerful act of faith. It is a testament to our innate capacity to connect with a source of unconditional love and unwavering peace, a source that is always accessible, waiting for us to acknowledge its presence and draw upon its infinite resources. This practice cultivates a deeper, more robust faith, one that is tested and strengthened not by its absence of challenges, but by its resilience in facing them with divine companionship. As we stand at this juncture, having traversed the landscape of inner experience and its relationship with unwavering trust, a subtle yet profound recalibration of perspective emerges. It's akin to standing on a mountaintop, the mists of doubt beginning to dissipate, revealing a vista that was always present, yet previously obscured by the immediate terrain. The journey thus far has illuminated not a path devoid of internal challenge, but rather one where challenges themselves become the very crucibles forging a deeper connection. The insights gathered suggest a reinterpretation of our internal dialogues, moving away from self-recrimination towards a more compassionate understanding of our human capacity for both vulnerability and resilience. Reflecting on this journey so far, we can discern a pattern of convergence, where the acknowledgement of our inner world's complexities is not a point of divergence from divine connection, but precisely the pathway towards it. The very essence of our spiritual unfolding seems to lie not in the eradication of apprehension, but in the conscious decision to orient ourselves towards a source of enduring peace, even amidst the ebb and flow of emotional currents. This reorientation is not a singular event, but a continuous practice, a gentle turning, much like a compass needle finding true north, regardless of the shifting winds that buffet it. It speaks to an inherent capacity within us to seek and find solace, a latent strength that is activated through conscious intention and a willingness to embrace the full spectrum of our being. The cumulative effect of these explorations points towards a more integrated understanding of faith, one that embraces the entirety of the human experience, including its moments of profound uncertainty. It suggests that true spiritual maturity is not about achieving an unassailable fortress against distress, but about cultivating an inner sanctuary where peace can be accessed and nurtured, regardless of external or internal tempests. This perspective invites a profound sense of liberation, freeing us from the burden of perceived spiritual perfection and instead anchoring us in the reality of a present, accessible divine presence that meets us exactly where we are, offering not judgment, but unwavering support and the quiet assurance of being deeply known and profoundly loved. As we prepare to transition into a final contemplation, this emergent understanding promises a grounding affirmation of our inherent worth and our innate connection to the sacred. And so, we arrive at this quiet harbor, not to simply recap the journey, but to feel the resonance of its truth deep within our being. The tapestry we've explored, woven with threads of human vulnerability and divine constancy, reveals a singular, luminous insight. Anxiety, in its rawest form, is not an indictment of our faith, but rather a profound testament to our inherent need for the divine. It is not a void where faith should be, but a fertile ground where a deeper, more resilient trust can be cultivated. To perceive our moments of worry as evidence of God's absence is to miss the very essence of His presence, which is most powerfully felt not in the absence of storms, but in the unwavering anchor He provides within them. Our human hearts, with all their capacity for apprehension, are not faulty vessels. They are precisely the sacred spaces where divine love chooses to dwell and to be discovered anew. The subtle whisper that equates anxious thoughts with a deficit in spiritual devotion is a distortion, a mirage that leads us away from the very source of strength we seek. Instead, let us embrace the truth that our trembling is not a sign of abandonment, but a powerful invitation to lean into the unwavering embrace of a love that is both boundless and intimately present. When we feel the tightening grip of worry, let it be not a signal of spiritual failure, but a gentle reminder to seek the rock that never moves, to turn our gaze towards the Christ who, even in His own profound affliction, remains steadfast in His trust. This is the heart of true spiritual practice, not the eradication of fear, but the conscious, courageous turning towards the divine, even when our steps feel uncertain. It is in this turning, this act of surrender and reliance, that our faith is not diminished, but powerfully affirmed and deepened. The essence of our shared contemplation converges on this vital understanding, that our anxious heart is not a mark of God's departure, but a clear signal of our profound need for Him, and in that very need, He is ever near. This is not a passive acceptance of struggle, but an active engagement with divine presence, recognizing that the moments we feel most fragile are often the moments we are most receptive to the infinite grace that sustains us. The true practice begins now, in the quiet moments between breaths, in the conscious choice to meet our apprehension not with self-recrimination, but with an unwavering turning towards the divine, trusting that in our deepest needs, we are held most securely. It is in this continuous, gentle reorientation that we discover not the absence of life's challenges, but the ever-present, unwavering strength of the divine to navigate them, transforming our vulnerability into a testament to an enduring, unconditional love.